So some of you may have been present when I did our 2000 Mules takedown, and it appears that some of my notes correspond with, I'm sure, some of the other critiques that have been going around and sort of floating around the interwebs. And Dinesh is trying to, one note at a time, address critiques of 2000 Mules. And I know what you're thinking. Why didn't he do this in the editing booth? Well, I don't know either. Maybe he's just too busy. He and Debbie had acting class, and somebody else was taking part of that. Now, oh, good Lord. So this one is, and remember, one of my big critiques was they're like the 2000 Mules they're stacking them up, and they went to multiple ballots, and they went multiple ones, and they were cameras on da-da-da. And the whole thing was, I was like, well, how come if these people went to they dropped off stacks of ballots at multiple places and they had to take a picture of it to let people know that they had done it to get paid, then why did none of the ones that dropped in stacks, which were obvious caregivers, one dude was even in fucking scrubs because he came from an old folks home probably, none of those people took a picture. The people who took a picture did their own ballot, or maybe theirs and their mom's, 2, 3 at a time, just let the family know that they were going to do it. And they're like, hey, see, I did it. Shut the fuck up. I mailed them. Even though you get a little update on your phone if you register for that thing. Anyways, good Lord. So this one is, where is the same mule at different locations? One classic question, and one that keeps, apparently, people keep poking Dinesh about. So let's see what his answer is. And again, this is one of those things where one would think you would have, on a very baseline, considering the allegation you're making, you would have taken 3 of these people, shown them at 2 or 3 multiple locations, maybe one at a bunch, right? Yeah, 2002 Mules. 2000 Mules part duh. That'll be our next breakdown. But you would think that while you're setting up this premise, you're literally making this case that these people went to multiple drop boxes, but you never show them at more than one drop box. And by the way, if he brings up the fake footage that they shot themselves of the backpack dude, which they don't say is a dramatization in the actual documentary. Let's see. Yeah, it's your movie, fucko. Right, Bob? Seriously.
In the,
I answer, where is the same mule at different locations? I thought they wouldn't notice. I answer, where is this? It's like an AMA where he's just getting these questions out of nowhere. What's the next question, Debbie? Where is the same mule at different locations? Oh, God. They're on to me. Nervous belly. All right, sorry. I can't take this seriously. I cannot.
Liz Cheney critique about 2000 Mules being debunked.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't specifically say how it's been debunked or by whom it's been debunked. But
Hey! Come on, hey. Who? I'll tell you specifically. I'll show you specifically. Where do you want them? On your forehead? By who? By me. Mr. Carter. I did the whole fucking thing, dum-dum. I mean, it was like Washington Post and other people, a couple people, somebody at the Daily Beast watched it too, and they wrote it down or whatever. But nobody went through line by fucking line. Hal Sparks, man about town. That's right.
But let's turn to a little debunking that occurred in Bill Barr's statement, quite apart from his statement about the geo-tracking. Basically what...
Quite apart from his laughing at the very mention of 2000 Mules.
Barr said is, he said, I'd like to have seen the same mule at multiple locations.
Uh-huh.
Stuffing in ballots.
Yeah, don't let him get to you, Dinesh. Everybody's a fucking critic. It is your movie. You tell your story your way, okay? You're special. You have needs. You should meet them first. Ayn Rand, 1935.
Of course, this is a refrain we've heard elsewhere.
Yeah, did you hear it in the edit bay? Did you hear from your investors? Did any of the producers bring it up? Did you cut the part out where Dennis Prager was like, what the fuck?
We've heard it from Ben Shapiro. We've heard it from others.
Yeah, almost everyone, dummy. It's like the easiest part of your whole fucking job.
Where is the video of the same mule at many locations?
He's going to show some. He's got 5 minutes. He's just going to pop it up on screen. He didn't even have to talk about it. They've got footage. They got a whole hard drive full of stuff right next to their copy of the fake Hunter Biden laptop hard drive. It's under look for a hard drive. It's the one that isn't called laptop.
Now, this would be a valid point if the states did what they were supposed to do and take video surveillance of all the drop boxes. Then it's a completely reasonable question. Hey, Dinesh, the geo-tracking shows the same mule, let's just say at 10 different drop boxes.
Or 10 different locations that happen to have drop boxes, and there were a shit ton of drop boxes everywhere. Some of them were in front of schools, soup kitchens, post offices, general stores, neighborhoods, corner blocks. So if you went by that block and stopped at the stoplight, you, according to your geo-tracking data, you stopped at that box.
Since there was video available in all those drop boxes, you should be able to find the guy at all the drop boxes.
Right.
And I agree. But let's say that there were whole states, Wisconsin comes to mind, that took no video.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck me. Nobody said that the Georgia Mules, the Georgia Mules drove to Wisconsin. None of them are saying that they went to 25 drop boxes across the nation. What the shit? If you got footage from Georgia, make the case in Georgia. Make the case in any of the Pennsylvania. The fuck are you talking about? Nobody thinks that somebody drove from a get out the vote lefty organization in Fulton County and drove all the way to Oconomowoc. What? One state, any state, right? One mule, multiple places in one state. What?
Let's say that there were other places like Maricopa County which either didn't take video or turned the video off. Let's say there are places.
Well, let's say that, but is that the case? Here's the thing. I don't give a fuck. You obviously got footage from one of the states. Use that.
Like Yuma, where there was no video taken at all. Let's say that there were places like Pennsylvania where it's not even clear if there was any video, but no video has been produced, even though True the Vote has made numerous attempts to get it. Let's say that even in the...
Well, then how do you make the case that they were not just near those other drop boxes and that they actually used them? So none of the situations where they were near any of these drop boxes makes the case that they how long did they stop there? The geolocating data, is there a time were they there for how long? 30 seconds? How long does it take to walk up and throw your ballot in? Are you just saying that anywhere they were near someplace for the 16 seconds it would take to get out of a car or leave the door open, throw your stuff in, get back in the car and go home? That's 16 seconds. Anywhere you stopped in the city for 16 seconds, or you were within, 100 yards of one of those drop boxes for more than 16 seconds, that considers a drop off? You don't have video of any of this shit. So you can't claim that just because they were near one of these boxes, which were fucking everywhere because it was a goddamn pandemic. Oh, this gets lamer the more he talks. Put up some fucking video, you stooge.
The Atlanta area, the one area where we do have a reasonable amount of video, the video is still extremely sparse and extremely spotty. And so, for example, there's only about 10 to 15% of places that even took video at all.
All right, 10 to 15 places. Great. Then why'd you just show us fucking one? How about this? Why, of the 2 places you showed, Why are the mules that fucking were the whole election, they were dropping off, 5 to 10 ballots every trip, which is a fucking ridiculous number, would never amount to anything, where they were apparently comfortable with committing, a felony for each one of those and fraud for each one of those, amounting to like 5 years for each ballot they put in. They're going to make a drop off of 5 every single time. Like that, just for $20 here and there. They just think it's never going to fucking come up. And the 2 places you do have video, none of them go to the same place. None of them go to both of those. What you think they're? I'm only going to one of them that has cameras. The fuck?
In some cases, the video is so bad you can't even see what's going on.
Right, like the footage you actually used in your movie, which is why you reshot footage to bullshit your viewers into thinking they were really seeing a dude with a backpack at night. And then the other one is, it's like the people who put in stacks of ballots, who were caregivers, who were dropping off for a group, who had a lanyard that allowed them to do it. You didn't even bother to check on that shit. Those people do that once at one drop-off box. And then the people who dropped off their families or whatever, and you have no evidence they went anywhere else, took a picture of either themselves putting it in so they could prove they voted. A lot of people do that just to go, hey, I voted. You know what I mean? And then the other dude took a picture of the front of the box, just what it said. After the fact, they're like, this guy forgot to take his picture. So like the guy at Crime Incorporated, who's manufacturing fraudulent votes, is going to accept that.
In other places, the camera is not even pointed at the drop box.
Did you catch them walking towards it? Did you catch them walking away from it? Were they loitering nearby, waiting for other people to walk away so they wouldn't get caught?
And so here's the problem. I do have an occasion, and it's in fact in the movie, where you have the same guy at more than one drop box, but you can't tell it's the same guy. Why? Because the video quality is so bad.
Well, then how do we know it's the same guy?
And in most of the other drop boxes where you look for the guy, there's no video. So I've used this analogy before, but it's worth bringing up again.
By the way, no, he doesn't. He reused footage of people multiple times at the same drop box doing the exact same drop. Do you guys remember, we watched that. I don't remember a single time where he's like, here he is again, ever.
Because I think it clarifies.
By the way, and why is it clear the rest of the time, and it's not clear when the person comes back? What they do, sneak around with some Vaseline and go weep across the lens?
The point. It's sort of like saying if you have a serial killer who goes from house to house, kills people at every house, but there's only one house, let's say house number 7, that happens to have video, and you happen to know he got there, let's just say from his cell phone.
Yeah, except there are no dead people at any of the other houses. Seriously, asshole, all you have are voters.
At 2:15 a.m. in the morning, you look at 2:15 in the morning, there he is on the video, and then you can establish through either human DNA, physical DNA, or digital DNA, his phone, that he was at all the other locations.
Well, I mean, you would think there would be more evidence. Otherwise, he's not a serial killer. He just went house to house until he found somebody home, and then he just killed them. Everybody else was luckily on vacation. What the fuck?
I think you've established your case.
No, you haven't, asshole. You haven't, because his at the other houses, like I said, there are no dead people. You're basically saying that you believe this is a truer analogy. Somebody you don't like went knocking on doors in a neighborhood, like a Girl Scout, a murderous, psychotic Girl Scout. She was going knocking on doors trying to sell cookies. And she, the last house she went to, she left and she had no cookies. And you're like, she sold cookies the whole way. And like, no, the last person bought all of her cookies. No, it turns out they didn't buy the cookies. She just threw them over the porch because she didn't want to carry them home. And nobody was home. But the idea is that from that very same story, with a Girl Scout who didn't sell any cookies, threw them all away, and then went home, Dinesh D'Souza has determined that everybody there bought all her cookies at each one of those houses. They all have diabetes from those cookies, and that the Girl Scout needs to go to jail.
proven what needs to be proved.
No, you haven't.
And in the one place where you have video, it confirms the geo-tracking or the DNA evidence.
No, it doesn't. Pop it up. Maybe he will. Let's fingers crossed. Do it. Because I don't remember seeing. I remember him reusing footage. I don't remember him seeing the same person at multiple drop boxes.
Case closed. It's just unreasonable to ask and say, wait a minute, I would now like to see the video of the serial killer at the other locations. Well, so would I. And if the video existed, I'd be able to show it to you.
But it doesn't, because he didn't go there. And because those people died of a murder-suicide, and the other people are still alive, and the other one, nobody's home. And then we didn't even bother to knock on those other doors. We don't want to know. We're just assuming if the door is closed, they're dead.
But if the video doesn't exist, it's simply ridiculous and preposterous to claim that the absence of video at locations that didn't take video is somehow a weakening or undermining of the case.
Yeah, it is, because you have no proof that a crime happened there. Just because you were near one of these drop boxes for more than 16 seconds at any given time, and by the way, they eliminate any of the stray in you walking around. So if you walked past the thing and you kept walking 100 yards and then walked back to your car because you went in the building or something, that still counts as you stopping at that drop box and dropping off ballots, which was never the fucking case. It's ridiculous. Like, nobody's dead. Nobody in the other houses are dead. And even the person with the alleged serial, this asshole wants to put somebody in the chair and put them on death row for murdering everybody living at 7 different houses, and nobody's dead.
It really isn't. So the cell phone evidence,
which is not evidence. Again, being in proximity of any of these drop boxes while eliminating your proximity to the actual location you were going to is not evidence.
Is in some ways even stronger than
No, it is not.
the video evidence.
No, it is not. Because you are alleging not that they were there, but that they were doing something very specific while they were there, and what they were doing while they're there was illegal. That's way more fucking specific than being within 16 seconds, spending 16 seconds in the proximity of, at a stop sign of a drop box every time you leave your house. You stop at the same stop sign, there's a drop box right there. So now, according to Dinesh D'Souza's geo-tracking, you went to that drop box every day for a month.
Evidence is stronger because video evidence is disputable.
Yeah, you don't even want it. You know what? It would be worse if we had them on video. It would actually undercut our argument, because people would recognize that those are actually different black people, and we just went by hoodies.
You can see video of 2 guys at different locations and you're like, well, it looks kind of similar, looks kind of like the same guy, but I'm not absolutely positive. Or what if the guy has a twin? Or what if I don't have a clear picture? I can't tell for sure. But on the other hand, if your cell phone is at a given location, then...
Yeah, but you don't have any clue as what he was doing at that given location, and all of those were put at very public locations in their neighborhoods during quarantine.
And it was there. And I remember I said it was there.
You know what? He's right. Video footage is a terrible way to go about this. I'm looking forward to 2,000 Mules, the audiobook, with some guest ASMR by Debbie. It's fucking... Chapter 2. Debbie wears a crepe dress. Chapter 3. Time in the kitchen. Sorry. Fuck, it says... I don't even know. How the fuck is actually video evidence isn't as good? Shit. shit. Dude, we're not saying in lieu of. You need both, you prick. You're telling people that someone is committing a fucking crime. Debbie, come in here for a second. Yes, dear? Does this look like the same guy to you? What did Dinesh go to jail for? Campaign fraud. It's like he was basically like rounding up cash and basically giving too much money to a candidate.
Say you were there. Why? Because in theory, you could have given your cell phone to your son, and he could be at the scene of the crime. And there actually have been crimes which have been, quote, solved, and they go after the suspect because his phone was there, and he goes, listen, I gave my phone to so-and-so, and it turns out that guy was the perpetrator. But that the phone was at that location is not open to reasonable.
Yeah, the difference is that they actually have a crime. They have like a dead person, and they actually have a gun, probably still smoking, but laying on the ground. They have an incendiary device.
Doubt. So the point I'm trying to make here is that
none.
Is that because of the pretext of COVID, a lot of states simply did not do what the election rules say that they should do, namely have 24-hour video surveillance. Even the Zuckerberg grants, as when they're given to counties and states, in the contract it says there needs to be video surveillance.
Oh, well then, obviously, so that's why you weren't using footage from the boxes that Zuckerberg himself financed. That's curious to me. So basically you're saying none of the Mule stuff that you're alleging happened at any of the Zuckerberg boxes.
And yet many counties took the money, didn't do the video surveillance.
Oh, that's right. Some of these counties were run by Republicans, I forgot.
So I think one thing we need to make sure going forward is that this surveillance is done.
Going forward, we need to make, you know what I think? For those people who were all murdered by that serial killer, I think we need state-run cameras inside all those houses.
Point is that, and I've done this on social media, I'm very happy to step forward and debate either Bill Barr or Liz Cheney.
That's because you need publicity for this turd. I'll debate you. I mean, he wouldn't have me. Like, this is... like, it's a waste of both our times, quite frankly. But I'm sure he's aiming higher on the YouTube totem pole than I. If Ben Shapiro's not going to talk to him, he's certainly not going to settle for little me.
Quite frankly, both of them on these issues. If you really want to get to the bottom of
if you want to get to the bottom of documentary filmmaking, you've reached it. Dinesh D'Souza. Right.
Election fraud. You need to put these ideas up against each other in open discussion.
No, you don't, actually. You could just, because you made a movie, asshole. You made a rhetorical argument. Nobody's responsible for conversing with your stupid fucking movie the way I did. Honest to God, like, that's the point. Is that I sat there and I had a conversation, an open dialogue with your rhetorical bullshit. He didn't present this. He didn't go on a fucking speaking lecture tour right? He didn't TED Talk his way through this shit.
An open debate. That's not happening in the January 6th hearing.
Well, that's because they're past that point, and it has nothing to do with your argument about the election itself. Even the point where if you suspect your mate is cheating on you, that doesn't give you the right to murder the person you believe they are cheating with, right? So the cheating part is immaterial. It might come up in sentencing, but you don't go, well, Your Honor, what a bitch, am I right? That's not a defense.
But it needs to happen if we're going to get to the truth of the matter.
Really? That's it? If we're going to get to the truth of the matter, debate me, Dinesh. Let's go through the whole stupid thing.